Hello there, lovely ones. So if you're here, it's because you're wanting to learn about converting between hours and minutes. This question over here was taken from a worksheet found at twinkle.co.za. So it talks about three friends that are training for a cross-country event, and it's wanting us to find out who competed the longest. Each friend competed for 4 days each, but you'll see that some of the times are just in minutes, some of them are hours and minutes. And so we need to add all of Susie's times up together to find out if they beat Carl's times or Tia's times. But before we start going into that, let's just revise. In 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Then in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. And in 1 day, there are 24 hours, and then of course in 1 week there are 7 days. To break that up even more, we can start talking about if there's 60 minutes in 1 hour, that means that there are going to be 120 minutes in 2 hours. And the reason that's good to know is because then we can start looking over here for where it says something that's close to 120 minutes, like over here 110 minutes or 105 minutes. So we know that it's more than 60, so it's more than 1 hour, but it's less than 120, which means it's less than 2 hours. And that will definitely help us with this. Step 1 of this question is to convert everything into minutes and then add them all together, or to convert everything into minutes and hours and then add them all together. Let's start by converting everything into minutes, and then we'll do the other option afterwards. We're going to start with Susie. So Susie's first time was 55 minutes, and then she talks about 1 hour and 35 minutes. But we know that 1 hour is the same as 60 minutes. So far we have 55 minutes. Then on day 2 it's 60 minutes and 35 minutes, which comes to a total of 95 minutes. Day 3 is going to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. But we also know that 2 hours is the same as 120 minutes. So you see what I'm doing? So I'm changing all of the hours to be minutes. So that means on day 3, she's going 160 minutes. And then lastly on day 4, it's 105 minutes. And so we can, let's break out the yellow. We can add the 55 to the 95 to the 160 and to the 105. And this comes to a total of 415 minutes. Okay, so let's go back to 60 minutes in an hour. 415 minutes is the same as 60 plus 60, that's 120, plus 60 is 180, plus 60 is 240, plus 60 is 300, let's go in this direction, plus 60 is 360, plus 60 is 410, so we've actually gone a little bit over. Let's take away that other one. So what we've got over here, if my calculations are correct, which they should be, we've got 360 minutes, and that is the same as 6 hours. We still have an additional 55 minutes that need to be added. So that means in total Susie has done 6 hours and 55 minutes. But these calculations do look rather ugly, so I'm going to redo them over here so that they don't. This would be how you would show it in some kind of assessment. You'd start by saying day 1 is 55 minutes, then day 2, and this is where it gets exciting, you say that it's 1 hour and 35 minutes, which is the same as 60 minutes plus 35 minutes, which is the same as 95 minutes. So you can see how I'm guiding through the marker or whoever's reading my work by explaining exactly what's happening. So day 3 is going to be 2 hours and 40 minutes, but we know that 2 hours is also 120 minutes. So we've got 120 minutes plus the 40 minutes, which is the same as 160 minutes. And then lastly, day 4 is going to be 105 minutes. And now we write it out that therefore 55 plus 95 plus 160 plus 105 is equals to, what did we say, 415 minutes. Of course, we want to give our answer in hours, so we're actually going to show our working like this. We're going to say 415 divided by 60 is going to give us 6, and the remainder is going to be 55. So therefore, it's going to be 6 hours and 55 minutes. So I did say that we were going to do the other method, and we're going to do that with Carl's time. The other method is when we add the hours separately to adding the minutes, and then afterwards we change the minutes into the hours and minutes. So when we're looking at Carl's time, we know that day 1, abbreviated, is going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes. Then day 2 is going to be 1 hour and 55 minutes. And you can see how I'm breaking it up, while making clear columns at least. Then I've got 110 minutes, and whoopsie, that's day 3. Then we've got day 4, where he only practiced for 45 minutes. So if we add up the hours separately, we've got 3 hours. And then in the minutes, that's going to be 10, and we do that, and that's going to be 8, 9, 10, plus 4 is going to be 14, so we've got 240 minutes. So the next part then would be to take the 240 minutes and divide it by 60, because that'll tell us how many hours, and I know that that's going to work out to be 4 hours. There is no remainder, which means that there are no minutes added to that. So that means that Carl then trained for a total of 3 plus 4 hours. So that's 7 hours in total. And now let's go to our last friend, who is Tia, and I'm going to use the same method as before, where we're going to take 1 hour and 50 minutes, and we will add 125 minutes to it separately and 75 minutes to it separately. And then the last day, Tia did 2 hours and 35 minutes. So we know in total there have been 3 hours done, but then over here we've got 15 and carry the 1, so that's going to be 9, 16, 19. Carry the 1 again, so we've got 295 minutes. We've got to change 295 minutes into hours, so we divide by 60. We're going to get 4 hours with a remainder, and that remainder is actually the number of minutes. So let's move over slightly. It should be 55 minutes. Remainder 55, which is the same as 4 hours, 55 minutes. Okay, we are going to do 4 hours and 55 minutes added to 3 hours, because that's what we got previously, And that gives us a total of 7 hours and 55 minutes. And this over here is for Tia. So in terms of laying out the calculations, what I've done is I've set up 4 lines. There's a line, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. I've then indicated with a plus over here that I'm adding it, and I've got the lines to show that these are going to be the totals. After that, I've left a space so that I can then do my other calculations, which is divide by 60. I'm also indicating that I'm going to get 4 with a remainder of 55, and shown underneath it that it's 4 hours 55 minutes. The last step then is to add all of those together. I suppose if I really wanted to, I could have done 3 hours and 0 minutes, and that would be how I got my final answer. We haven't actually answered the question though, and that's always very important, so I'm going to just go along forever. And it says, who completed the most training and for how much longer than the other 2 friends did she or he run? So if we take a look at the 3 different answers, we've got Susie for 6 hours and 55 minutes. Then we've got Carl for 7 hours. And then we've got Tia for 7 hours and 55 minutes. So if they're asking who did longer, it's definitely not Susie. And Carl also. So that means it must be Tia. And Tia did a whole extra 55 minutes than Carl. And that's it for now. Much love.